Welcome back to Tacticians and You, the somewhat informational video series on a subclass you probably don't even care about. And don't worry, this video is going to be a little bit more media. There's actually more things I can talk about here. Because we're talking about Mitm, the man who is truly in the middle. While his kit looks like it's designed to stall with his self-destructing cherry free, he has the potential to hit extremely hard with S1 and S2, which allows him to fit into a DPS role, which is why I choose to call him the man in the middle, because the man can't decide what fucking role he wants to fill. Because of this, though, I have seen people saying Mitm power creeps Beanstalk, and frankly, that's just a really silly thing. This is like saying Blue Poison is power cut by Archetto. Just because they both fill the role of a multi-target anti-air marksman, a rarity bump doesn't mean Archetto is better, because they both fit into different niches anyway. The Mitm slash Beanstalk comparison is the same case as well. Like, they both look like they do the same thing, but they both fulfill different niches. Mitm doesn't exactly fit into the same niche as Beanstalk, purely because of how the scrap he summons from blowing up his robot don't attack back. His kit is designed to stall big enemies and effectively cage them once his companion dies. His module further reinforces this playstyle by buffing the health pool of the scrap even more. Mitm is all about imprisoning the enemy and make sure they can't move out of the range of your main DPSs. This makes him a great fit with heavy shooters, blast casters, fortresses, and besiegers. Something Beanstalk can do, but is not as effective as Mitm. But just because he works best as a boss stoller doesn't mean he isn't packing, well, some heat. Mitm has two ways to blow up Cherry Free, and his S1 is his most, well, effective and simple way of doing it. He turns Cherry into a suicide bomber. Remote self-destruct gives you an instant 6 DP and causes Cherry to blow up her tile and the adjacent 4 tiles for frankly obscene percentages, which he needs because his tax stat is kind of low. Like, we're talking about a whopping 355% modifier at skill level 7, with M3 pushing it towards 400%. This is why he is the man in the middle. He's built like a solar, but he isn't afraid to just blast some poor fucking mook into next week. 400% is nothing to be slept on either. At max level, with full trust and module level 3, his attack stat sits at 595, if I did that right. If my understanding of how percent increases work in this game is correct, S1 hits for 2,380 damage before defense calc. Now, this is overkill for your basic enemies, but for more tanky elites or bosses, this is the cherry on top of his stall, letting him assist by doing a decent chunk of damage before caging the boss in. And since we're on the topic of caging, let's just talk about the scrap since it's the key part of the Mitm game plan. So when Cherry Free dies, it will spawn scrap in the adjacent 4 tiles if possible, and this scrap shares its HP stat with Cherry's. Without the module, it's 50% of Cherry Free's HP, and with a level 3 module, it's 70%. If we're presuming we're using a max level Mitm, Cherry Free has 2,750 HP, so the scrap should have a health pool of 1,375 HP without the module, or 1,925 HP with a maxed out module. Now, presuming we're using S1 with a maxed out module and we choose to do the most optimal way of caging, which is detonating before your target walks into Cherry and spawning at least 2 scrap blockers, our target would need to work their way through about a total of 660 HP if Cherry respawns in time. That's a lot of stats for a simple stall. Just a shame that the scrap has no defense stats, meaning if an elite boss has either a strong enough hit or a very fast attacker, the scrap is kind of bad, which is why for situations like this, we use S2. Power under pressure trades in S1's nuke for a more potent stall. Cherry Free will stop attacking and gain 1 block and 110% defense, going up to 140% at M3. To compensate for the loss of damage, though, due to Cherry not attacking anymore, Mitm himself will gain 60% attack, going up to 80% with M3, and this all happens over the course of a flat 15-second duration. This is the skill I use for situations where spawning scrap just isn't enough, but aside from the defense increase, it serves the same purpose as S1. It just depends on the type of boss / elite you need to handle in that situation. In other words, be prepared to M6 him if you want to utilize his capabilities, which is when I have to come in with the huge caveat. Like, don't get me wrong, Mitm is a great unit, but the problem is he's so great at doing his one specific job, he doesn't excel at anything else. And that's why I 100% can't recommend him for general use. Mitm is a unit that is designed specifically for freaks like me who need a low-cost boss staller who can also generate DP and happens also to fit into specific niche knight squads like Sarkaz Knights or Vanguard Knights, or when they have a lower deployment limit in effect. He's an operator for enthusiasts, is what I'm trying to say. And in any other situation, his role is way too replaceable when it comes to the general player base by way better units. Like, if you need what he offers in a normal environment, I would just recommend using a traditional DP printer like Myrtle and dropping a Juggernaut or a Duelist. The times you need him are way too niche for general players, but if you're looking to try him out anyway, or you need him for a niche nights, just be prepared for the huge investment cost he comes with. Like, we're talking like the upgrade cost associated with a 5-star, then you need to max level him for Cherry's max HP stat, and then you need to at least M3 both his skills and get level 3 on his module. Just so it's easier to understand how big of an ass it is, I have visualized all his costs on screen right now. This is why despite all the praise I pour upon him, I would still not recommend him unless you are either a die-hard fan of the subclass or you need him for a niche knights clear. Despite that, I do still think he's the best representative of the Tactician class because he really does put the tactic into Tactician, to use that joke again. He really caters to advanced players who want to min-max each character's potential, which is why I love using him. I just thought I would properly lay out the problems he comes with, but if that doesn't bother you, Mitm in the middle will serve you incredibly well. Now, anyway, I will see you guys next week for when we talk about the other 5-star Tactician, Black Knight.